So today's title is Fading Hearts Chapter 1, The Hospital's Angel. Rosie worked at St. Anne's Hospital, a place where both the living and the dying found refuge. Her compassion was unmatched, and her smile was a ray of sunshine that could pierce through even the gloomiest of days. Patients and colleagues alike adored her for her unwavering kindness. However, the town knew nothing of the tears she shed in her dimly lit apartment. Her evenings were spent in solitude, haunted by memories of a love lost to the unforgiving hands of fate. Chapter 2: Love Lost. Years ago, Rosie had been deeply in love with a man named James. Their love was like a beautiful, fragile flower that blossomed in the garden of their hearts. They had planned a life together, dreams intertwined, and promises made under a sky full of stars. But life, ever unpredictable, had other plans. James fell gravely ill, his vibrant spirit slowly waning. Rosie watched in agony as the love of her life withered away before her eyes, his laughter turning into coughs, and his strong hands into frail ones. In the end, despite her best efforts, she couldn't save him. James passed away in the same hospital where she now worked, his hand slipping from hers as he took his last breath. That night, a piece of Rosie's heart died with him. Chapter 3: Unseen Sorrows. Rosie had never truly recovered from the loss. She went through the motions of life, her smile as radiant as ever, but her heart was a hollow chamber echoing with the memories of James. She found solace in helping others through their pain, yet she couldn't heal her own. One chilly autumn evening, Rosie received an emergency call from the hospital. There had been a terrible accident on the outskirts of town. She rushed to the scene, her heart pounding with a strange mix of dread and anticipation. Chapter 4: A Twist of Fate at the Accident Site. Chaos reigned supreme. Rosie's heart ached as she saw the wreckage, but she pushed her emotions aside and got to work. Amidst the injured and the frightened, she found a young man, battered and bruised, his face hidden under a tangle of hair and blood. As she worked to stabilize him, a chill ran down her spine. She felt an inexplicable connection with this stranger, a feeling of déjà vu. When they finally brought him to the hospital, she realized why. Chapter 5: A familiar face lying unconscious in the hospital bed was a man who bore an uncanny resemblance to James. Rosie couldn't believe her eyes. His features, the way he breathed, even the sound of his heartbeat, it all reminded her of the love she had lost. It was as if James had been reborn in another form. She spent long hours by his bedside, not as a nurse, but as a grieving lover who had been given a second chance. The man, whose name turned out to be David, slowly recovered, and as he regained consciousness, he found himself drawn to Rosie, inexplicably captivated by her kindness. Chapter 6: A Second Chance. As David healed, Rosie couldn't help but see James in him more and more. It was as if the universe had conspired to bring them back together. She cautiously shared her story with David, who listened with a mixture of wonder and sympathy. He too had lost someone he loved, a sister who had perished in the same accident. Their shared grief drew them closer, and their bond deepened into something beautiful. Rosie felt like she was finally beginning to heal, and she dared to believe in the possibility of a second chance at love. Chapter 7: A Bittersweet Love. As the seasons changed and their love blossomed, Rosie and David faced the reality of their situation. David was not James. He was a different person with his own dreams and ambitions. And while Rosie had found a kindred spirit in him, the specter of James still loomed large in her heart. Their love was bittersweet, a beautiful melody tainted by the melancholy of the past. They cherished each moment they had together, knowing that life was fragile and unpredictable. Chapter 8: Farewell. One fateful day, as autumn leaves carpeted the town in a riot of colors, David's health took a turn for the worse. Rosie knew that she couldn't save him, just as she couldn't save James all those years ago. The hospital room felt like a cruel echo of the past. Surrounded by the beeping monitors and the soft hum of the machines, Rosie held David's hand. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she whispered her love for him. David smiled weakly, his eyes filled with gratitude. And then, as the sun dipped below the horizon, David slipped away, leaving Rosie with yet another void in her heart. Chapter 9. The Healing Power of Time. After David's passing, Rosie continued to work at St. Anne's Hospital, her smile once again a beacon of hope for those in need. She knew that life was a series of hellos and goodbyes, of joy and sorrow. Time passed, and the pain of her losses began to fade, like old scars slowly becoming less visible. Rosie learned to carry her grief like a cherished memory rather than a burden. She knew that James and David would always have a special place in her heart, and their love would forever be a part of her. In the end, Rosie found solace in the knowledge that even in the darkest of times, love could still shine through. She continued to be the hospital's angel, bringing comfort and healing to those who needed it, all the while knowing that her own heart had been both broken and mended by the bittersweet symphony of life. Epilogue. Fading Hearts. Rosie's story was one of love and loss, of healing and hope. It was a story that reminded us that even in our darkest moments, there is a glimmer of light. And even in our deepest sorrows, there is the possibility of joy. Her life was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that we can find beauty in the midst of pain, and that love, in all its forms, has the power to heal even the most wounded hearts. And so, in the quiet corners of St. Anne's Hospital, Nurse Rosie continued to write her story, a story of fading hearts that, in their fading, found the strength to shine brighter than ever before.